So Johny Dar.
Well,
It's a pretty awesome name, I have to say.
well, thank you.
You know, I can imagine it being a sort of maybe a cartoon.
Yeah, maybe one day.
One day. I mean, why not? So, welcome to Questioning Reality. After our chat last week, I thought, you know what, we have to bring you on and talk about some of the pretty far out there stuff we were chatting about.
Well, thank you. Thank you for bringing me onto your amazing house and your podcast.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. So, my man, like for anybody who's just tuning in and they want to know who Johny Dar is, how would you define yourself? What is it that's the impact that you're looking to make in this world?
With the impact that I'm looking to make in this world would be definitely to find the ultimate way of us to live with ourselves, live with everything else around us. And yeah, I believe we're missing a lot of the points.
The points.
Yeah.
What are those points?
The points, the points that we need to actually connect. I believe a lot of the points are disconnected.
Yeah.
And that's a part of the reason why we're only tapping to our 2% maybe of our potential.
Okay.
And 98% is getting tossed away every day. So why is that?
Why is that? Look, I mean, if people Google you and they look you up, they'll see that you are an accomplished artist, creative, director. There's certain connotations. So you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you stepped into this world, this sort of biohacking world where you've developed this machine that you'll explain completely, of course, that biohacks and does these incredible things that you've told us about, rejuvenating cells and making you stronger, all these different things. So explain, if you can, what is this, so that people can sort of have this idea. And then I'd love to get in how you went about from being an artist to building such a contraption.
I mean, it started basically it started early in life for me, because I realized that I was seeing things that no one was seeing, hearing things that no one else was hearing. My idea of life was very different than everyone else's idea of life around me.
Like, what were you seeing? What were you hearing?
I mean, I definitely was able to hear somebody's thoughts before they even said anything. I was able to
Get out my head, Johnny. Get out
I
my
know.
head.
Sense things prior to them happening. I was able to. I don't know. I was able to kind of like give you the answer to the math problem before I even knew how to resolve the math problem, or how to
Before you even got the question.
Yeah, exactly. I was just able to. Yeah, I mean, I was able to be in space more than I was in the actual physical body. Yeah,
So like a premonition.
I'm constantly in space, and very hard for me to, wasn't really hard for me to contract back to the space, back to the body, but I'm constantly more interested in being in space than in the actual physical body.
You know what? When I meet you, I can certainly feel that.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, you're definitely. I think that's what most artists are. They're more sort of in the space than they are in this 3D world.
Yeah.
They're in a sort of different elevation. And they see life very differently. I like to think of myself as sort of an artist.
Yeah,
in my own way.
Yeah.
You can probably see by the clothes I wear.
Yeah.
But you have this air about you, and I don't know you very well yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you had this quality. Like as soon as I saw you, it was like, oh, I know I've known you for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
that was
how many lifetimes have we known each other for?
Exactly.
And there is that sense of knowing, and it's just trusting that and going, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you knew what people were thinking before they thought it, or that you could sense it. So when did you know you were different?
I mean, it was like, it was very apparent from the start. I didn't have a chance to think I was normal.
Okay.
That was not even on the table.
Thank goodness.
The option was not there.
Who wants to be normal?
I mean, basically my environment wanted me to be normal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there was a lot of pressure to normalize me. So
what do you mean? Where was your environment?
I mean, kind of like, my dad is a professor in economics, and definitely I come from a family of Achievers, overachievers. Yeah. So basically, but achieving for us has to be materialistic. It has to be wealth. Has to be position.
So they're academic.
They're very
So
academic.
very intellectual.
Yeah. There's like maybe 50
attached.
doctors in the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which is very opposite of you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're spacey and they are very structured and black and white. This
Yep.
kind of intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can't see it or feel it, then it's not real.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm constantly fighting with my dad about what is real and what's not.
Of course, it's like they say, you know, when you come into your family, everybody's so different, and it's like you're meant to be there. It's like you're creating balance.
Mm-hmm.
If they're so heavily within their mind and they're
Mm-hmm.
intellectual, then you would need to come along to create some balance.
Yeah.
And obviously there was such one extreme that you became the other extreme.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Until at one point, I kind of like had to give in and forget what I'm here for or what I'm doing or that I'm even an artist.
Okay. I relate.
Yeah. I definitely came to that point. Yeah. And then I had to kind of like, okay, let me just fit in and let me just, you know, make sure that I'm accepted and up to the protocol.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Because if you're not accepted in your tribe, then, you know, it's close to death, right? What happens next? You're trying to survive.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be loved by your parents.
Yeah.
You felt different, but you wanted to connect with them and I guess be accepted by them and, you know.
Yeah, and show that I really care about them, you know, and basically it's like, me showing that I care about them, that meant I needed to become like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you decide to not become like them?
It wasn't me that decided, actually, it was a motorcycle accident. So,
Okay.
that kind of like helped crack me out of that
Wow.
norm.
It woke you up.
Woke me up again.
What happened?
Me, I was on my bike in Santa Monica.
Oof,
and then
yeah.
and then literally there's like a truck came out of the alley and just bam.
Wow, a truck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was heavy.
Wow. How old were you?
Oh, it's 19 maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
And you were just sort of unconscious, or
Yeah. I mean, I
wiped out
was. Yeah. I
completely?
mean, I was under. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was. Yeah, and then I couldn't play. I couldn't play soccer anymore, and I mean that's the way I was financing my filmmaking venture. You know, studying filmmaking at UCLA. So
Wow.
so I couldn't do that anymore
Wow.
because I couldn't play soccer anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you're pretty high up in the soccer
yeah,
world. were you
yeah,
doing-
yeah. I was like, because that was my way of like, okay, cool. That's kind of like, I stopped being an artist and I was like, okay, let me just express it in a different way. So I expressed it through sports. So
Okay.
I was running. I was So I was a runner really more than a soccer player. You
Yeah.
know. So I was like able to run up and down.
Okay, so they just give you the ball and just run.
Yeah.
Run, Forrest.
Run, Forrest. Exactly.
Okay. Well, how did you make money from it though, soccer in America? Because back then
I mean, no, I mean, it wasn't. I was getting my scholarship, getting into into UCLA. So I'm like, okay, this was my way to my way to pay for my school. Yeah, it was like 60K that I needed to pay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, 60K back then was a lot of money as well. You know.
Well, what happened to you? I mean, look, you're 19. You're okay to talk about it now. I mean, it's
yeah.
Okay. So what happened to your body? I mean, was it?
I mean, basically, it was like shivering. I mean, I had this. I couldn't stop shivering. I mean, I couldn't stop. I mean, it was a really weird thing. Yeah. So it was. I couldn't control my. I couldn't control my body.
So you're sort of the subconscious mind that's supposed to regulate your body.
Yeah.
That wasn't doing its job.
Yeah. Basically, I couldn't hit the ball, let's say, where I need to, you know, or just like I hit it somewhere else.
So you weren't able to focus and.
Yeah, I mean, my body would just react on its own.
Okay, so it was actually moving on its own accord.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, and they couldn't really figure out the reason why, and they basically So yeah, I mean, at the end, I healed myself, you know.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
It sounds like Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, when he got hit by a car, I think when he was about your age, I think, and he had some serious issues, and he healed himself as well. And then he's gone on his whole life about how we can heal ourselves, superhuman healing. So, are you able to share about how you managed to heal yourself?
I mean, the way I ended up healing myself is I started doing art again.
Okay.
I started doing art again, and then I realized that I was literally healing myself by sketching out my problem, and being able to get a better idea of what's happening.
Okay.
And then I got into meditation, and I just stopped stressing and stopped being worried about anything. And just by doing the arts again, so I realized that it was more subconscious than conscious. It was kind of like me inhibiting or like stopping myself from doing so, or like creating this problem for myself so I can get back to what I'm really here to do. So I felt like it was all that stress that was accumulated over the years of me no longer expressing my true self.
Because you suppressed yourself
Exactly.
throughout your childhood,
Yeah.
with your parents.
Yeah.
And so there was that sort of moment. Well, you know what they say, I say they, there's a sense that I feel that, is there such a thing as an accident? And I should think there is to a degree, you know, if you're in a plane and something happens, it's out of your control. But they say that your subconscious mind sees 7 seconds ahead before your conscious mind sort of realizes. So that accident may have been purposeful in order for you to wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, some people will obviously maybe contest that, but at the same time, it was your awakening because your body, what your mind suppresses, your body expresses. So putting yourself in that situation because it wanted to break free.
Yeah,
correct. You were unconscious, you were distracted because you weren't truly living your dharma, your spirit, it wasn't coming through. You were living a life, you were living somebody else's idea of what you should be.
Exactly.
Rather than who you actually really are. So that's beautiful. So you used art to heal yourself, and how many did it take years? I mean, how did that work?
I mean, it was, it took about 2.5 years, maybe. Yeah, 2.5 years, 2.5 years, 3. I mean, I still kind of like was going through that trauma, and it would come, I was on heavy medications as well. The Depakote, the Klonopin, I was like constantly drugged out, So that definitely helped with relaxing me.
Okay.
But it destroyed my life, to be honest, because I felt now weirder than ever.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like I cannot even carry my body anymore because I'm like over medicated. Yeah.
That's a big problem in America, huh?
Yeah.
And it's starting to spread all around the world. I was just listening to a podcast by a doctor. His name is, let me just pull it up. Because I just pulled it up. Dr. Asim Malhotra. And he is an English doctor, cardiologist, and just making people aware that how overprescribed people actually are. I know we talk about statins, how people are taking them to help them to relieve any potential heart attacks, and how actually it only helps about 1% of the time. And now about the COVID vaccines and how actually they are causing inflation in the arteries and leading towards heart attacks, know. So it's coming more and more clear. And, sorry to do a little side angle here, but, the big pharma really has a stronghold, over politicians, over doctors, because they hold all the money and,
It's an industry. That's the issue.
It's a huge industry, and it becomes sort of an entity that, as he describes, it's when you're in that entity, you as a person, CEO, maybe a nice person outside of it, but when you belong to that entity, it becomes psychopathic. So,
that's the reason. Look at the doctors; they're not so healthy themselves.
No, a lot of the doctors aren't. If you see in the UK who the head of health secretary is, or something like this, you see that they are not really the definition of health. And who are we to? Why should anybody have to listen to somebody else? it comes down to common sense and
Yeah.
research, and you know, why is it you're looking for a quick pill to fix something unless you had an accident? And but once you're on these prescribed medications, it's very hard to get off.
They are, yeah, super hard to get off. I mean, the thing is this. I mean, I decided to get off the medications overnight. I was like, okay, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm over it.
Done feeling numb.
Done feeling numb. But it was interesting,
Hashtag.
because I had to kind of like get into some heavy other kind of drugs
Okay.
to offset the other drugs.
What were those?
I mean, yeah, some. I mean, it's like, yeah, it was really interesting to experimental drugs. I mean, just drugs on the streets.
Drugs or medicine?
No, drugs. I mean, drugs, medicine. It was really interesting. Kind of like to wake me up from the other drugs, I had to do this other drugs. So to wake up from Klonopin and Depakote, I had to do, let's say, coke and speed. And
Kind of the same thing. They're just not regulated. And these big farmers are not making the money, who knows, directly from the illegal drugs.
Yeah.
It depends who defines what's illegal or legal. Apparently FDA do, but
Yeah.
so many different things can be said about all of this, and there's so much out there.
Yeah.
But I hear you, when you have one habit, which was a habit, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't heal what that habit is, that void is filling, then you're going to replace that habit with another habit. Which you did.
Yeah.
How long was that? How long was that fight for?
I mean, it was interesting because I moved in with this roommate that was definitely addicted to all these kind of drugs, and basically started doing my drugs and became more addicted to my drugs than his drugs, which was really interesting because at the end of the day, he was like begging me for my drugs for the Klonopin and the Depakote, etc., and the Prozac. And
so he was actually craving your pharmaceutical prescribed drugs more than his own whatever habit he had at the time. Wow.
Yeah. So it was a really interesting transition right there. So he came in with his street drugs. I came in with my pharmaceutical drugs. And then...
Wow.
Yeah, we're like... Yeah, and then he found... and then he was like taking... Yeah, he was like more addicted to my drugs than the street drugs. Yeah, then speed and alcohol and coke and Prozac, and ecstasy, whatever it was. Yeah.
Okay, well, so... going through this, and you went through your knock, and when you came out, when did you come out of that haze of the drugs, and you became sort of more realized about who you truly are rather than who you thought you were?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Since we ended up talking about drugs, it went from those drugs to the other drugs to now psychedelics.
Okay.
And now kind of like when, let's say, mushrooms came in, then that was the actual healing drug.
Yeah, well, that's medicine.
Yeah, that's true medicine.
Yeah, I see, you got your drugs. I've been on the drugs, and the difference between drugs and medicine is, night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Drugs, like cocaine, I put it in the book, it keeps people in a perpetual state where they go round and round with their patterns. You have your patterns, and and it gives you a false sense of security. It bolsters up your sort of confidence and ego, but it's a false sense of confidence, and you think you're bigger than what you actually are, and you keep going round and round and round, and it's like you think you're moving forward, but you're on a treadmill.
Yeah,
that's what cocaine, I think, sort of sums it up. But when you step into the world of medicine, where it's plant based, and you're talking mushrooms, yopo, ayahuasca, DMT, even though that's comes from the frog, the toad.
I mean, the DMT coming from the root as well. I mean, that's
yes,
that's a really good. Yeah, I mean, that's
and the
good
bark
experience.
of the tree. There's
from
how they
Australia. Yeah,
how they process it, and a lot of it from South America, of course. But what that does is it obviously gives you a different perspective of yourself, and it's incredible because it's there for a reason. God has brought it there. It's within nature. And each different medicine you take lends to you this sort of tool that it shows to you yourself from a different perspective, so you can then see it, become aware of yourself, sort of self-actualization. And because you become aware of yourself, it's not something external, it's all happening internally. You're able to then process and integrate these learnings, and it's like you're given free will, because before that, and there's thousands of different modalities. You don't have to take plant medicines to get there, but it's just a different modality, and it gives you this perspective. And for me, it helped me see certain blind spots I didn't know were there before that were filtering my life. And then when you are able to see this destructive patterns or certain feelings that haven't been able to come up to the surface, these medicines really do that magic. So anyway, I just wanted to... So is that kind of what happened for you when you decided to navigate towards the medicines?
Yeah. I mean, basically, I just kind of like bounced from this to this to that, and then got to a point where I was like, okay, cool. Now I need to get into meditation.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then
Makes
I got
sense.
into meditation, and then that basically... I mean, I felt like, that brought me back to my center. I mean, and then I was like, okay, I'm at peace with with who I am, and I'm no longer, let's say, trying to hide. I was still trying to hide. I mean, I'm still insecure about being an artist, I'm still, a part of me is still a bit insecure about it,
I'm sure
because
that serves you, though. I'm sure that serves you as an artist, that insecurity. I mean, if you looked at it, how does it serve you, having that insecurity?
Maybe I don't take pride in it, or it keeps me humble, or I don't know.
You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, that's how I will see it. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, that's how I see it. Kind of like, keeps me,
It keeps you on as you said, humble and connected.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, keeps me constantly, I'm never satisfied with whatever I do. So it doesn't matter. I'm always striving for the grander achievement or for the grander breakthrough. So maybe it's like, it kind of like got me to be disconnected from it as well. So where like I do it because I have to do it. I don't do it because I want to do it.
It's just you're pulled to do it.
Yeah, I need to do it. It's just my way of actually digesting the world and understanding the world. It's like my way of studying the world.
Okay, that's cool.
So I don't do it to... I mean, you can never hire me to paint a painting for you. Yeah, I mean, I only do it because it's my calling. It's part of what I'm here to do. It just, it's kind of like the way I shit life.
Fair enough.
Yeah, literally. It's,
So when you went from the medicines, and obviously all of this stuff that you've gone through would help you as an artist for sure. You've had your time as an artist, and you've done some pretty cool things. Is there anything you want to share that's sort of an anecdote, funny story? Is there anything?
I mean, the thing is the funny story is that I was hanging out with all the top artists for a while, and being an artist for a while, but I never really shared or showed my art to anyone because I was still kind of like insecure about it. And then I remember one time this girl coming into my house and discovering my art, and she's like, and she just flipped out. She's like, I cannot believe you're not showing this to the world, I mean, just looking through your art, I feel like I healed from 1,000 traumas, really. I was like, what? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So, So basically, it's like she made me feel really guilty for not sharing my art with the world.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so guilt is what the driving factor of getting it out there. Well, look, if it overpowered the insecurity, then hey, it's not to judge any emotion and feeling that we ever feel at the end of the day, because hey, I've had a different variety of emotions that have driven me to do some incredible things. So hey, whatever works, and it got you there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was really interesting because I was like supporting all these artists, being a part of the art scene and flying everywhere, whatever, just like being very active in it, but never really sharing the fact that I do art.
Wow.
Yeah, that was always my own hidden, like secret. That's that's my little world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear you.
yeah,
I'm sure many people can relate to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you went from art. Where was your sort of? How do you transition from art into this device that you've put together? And
I mean, the way the thing is this started back in, let's say, when I was 23, 24, maybe. Yeah. So at that point, let's say I made it to the top of the fashion industry around 22, 23. Yeah. And in a while, I was going through all my other problems. So,
what problems?
I mean, yeah, the drug problems.
Ah, okay. That's
Yeah,
around 23 years
yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah. I was still, yeah.
Okay,
But the
wow.
thing is this, I'm an overachiever, I mean, I can still keep going. I mean, I can be living 5, 6 lives at the same time. So,
Wow.
yeah. So that's kind of like how I always conducted my world. Yeah. So I always had to be on top of my game regardless. It doesn't matter how shit I feel
Yeah.
or how down I feel. So didn't count. That was like my off
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my personal time where I sat there and reflected on how messed up my life is, and
Okay.
how everyone celebrated me and thought I'm like this amazing everything. But then for me, I didn't feel that way.
No.
I felt always like, yeah, unsatisfied, like, yeah, dissatisfied with basically not understanding exactly why I'm being celebrated so
Of
by
course.
everyone else, while I cannot celebrate myself.
Of course.
Yeah,
I hear you. I'm sure many people can relate to that. They feel like an imposter,
yeah,
in their own life. They're
yeah,
getting, rewarded for something, and they themselves feel it's not deserving.
yeah,
And it comes down to that, feeling deserving of what it is we get in our life,
yeah,
feeling worthy, feeling enough,
yeah,
which, I think it's a constant battle for a lot of people.
yeah, yeah. I mean, to come to realize self-peace, is not a simple task.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not a simple path.
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean, I can say I'm really hard on myself.
Are you still hard on yourself?
I've definitely realized. No, I mean, I'm still hard on myself, but I'm not as hard on myself as I used to be.
Mm.
I used to be really
Of course.
dangerously hard on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I relate.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now I can say I'm like not so dangerous
Okay.
this way.
To yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you think's helped get you there? Is it just time?
I mean, it was what helped me get there. I believe. I mean, it was like many things coming together. It was not. I cannot really just say one thing got me there. Yeah, but definitely being able to come back to my center, coming to, doing my. I mean, I believe what helped me the most was discovering my sound, discovering my voice.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that really helped me release a lot of my anger and yeah, and be able to just come back to my center.
When you say found your voice, was that, and how did you, what modality did you find your
Um,
voice?
Yeah, I mean, when I got into extreme meditations, where I just needed to meditate all the time and go everywhere and meditate with everyone, and basically got to a point where I needed to isolate myself and just whether in nature or in a room or in a house, whatever. Yeah, so wherever I can isolate myself, basically. But I preferred being in nature most of the time. And then I realized that I always wanted to be a singer since I was a kid. But then that was suppressed as well. You have an ugly voice, you cannot sing. Yeah. Or yeah, I mean, because they tried everything to make sure that I don't go into the arts. So I stay within becoming a lawyer or a doctor or yeah. So any artist, any expression of
Mm.
creativity was
Wow.
yeah taken down really quickly. Yeah,
Mm.
it was destroyed.
It's just not as important, I think.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, my art was destroyed by the time I was 12, 13. All my art pieces were destroyed, literally.
Wow.
So there was no way for me to reflect on my art anymore. Yeah. Because I remember since I was a child, I used to just draw. I mean, I used to draw all day long. And then at the end of the day, I knew exactly what I was drawing. And basically, I ended up telling stories and that no one could relate to in my world. Yeah. So
That must be tough because you're trying to express yourself, and then you have your parents who are telling you that's no good. It's not important.
yeah,
Where for you that's just you speaking,
yeah,
and ultimately they're shutting you up.
yeah.
No, I can, that's serious suppression. What's your relationship like with your parents now?
I mean, it just basically it's success related, you know. So it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, you know, I'm successful, so I'm accepted
Okay.
for my success. But I'm not really, my work is not really understood or recognized as, yeah, it's just, how much money are you making?
So you don't? Is it that the kind of relationship you have? Is it that's it, or do you? I mean, is there?
I mean, the thing is this, it's kind of like, yeah, there is that, that need, for, my family, yeah. But the thing is this, it's like, I really don't feel that I've never been understood and I'm still not understood. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and that's what it feels like from your with your parents, that they don't understand you.
No, they don't understand me. No. Very far away.
And how does that leave you feeling?
I mean, it leaves me feeling, yeah, I mean, definitely like, I'm looking for, yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm fine with it. I mean, just kind of like, yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, it was my biggest blockage in life, let's say. Yeah. So the fact that never really, yeah, that's the reason why I'm kind of like, I never really celebrate my success or celebrate anything I do because I just do it. I'm not doing it to be celebrated or to feel successful I'm just like, I'm doing it again because it's my nature and I have to do it.
I hear that. I mean, you're sort of driven by this, but is there a point where you want to pause and just realize, what you've accomplished, even if your parents didn't see it in a certain way and they suppressed you and did what they had to do? Because hey, we've all had parents that have, done that in some way, and that kind of drives us as well. But our parents are our relationship with the world.
Yeah.
So we feel the world does that to us.
Yeah,
However we
exactly.
see our parents.
Exactly.
So, you celebrating your successes and achievements. Do you ever? I mean, when was the last time you did? Have you never done it before?
Celebrate my success?
Yeah.
I cannot really think of a time when I did so because I remember just running away from being celebrated for my success. I remember the first time I showed on the runway. I mean, I was the only one that got standing up ovation, but ran away.
So,
I ran away, and when the press came out, came to the backstage to look for me, because I came out with a mask, so they couldn't tell who.
oh, I see. It's
Yeah.
like a.
So
So you were hiding.
Yeah, I mean, I was always hiding. I'm still hiding.
Why hide? What is it you want? What is it you don't want people to see?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is this again. What is it that I don't want people to see? I mean, the thing is this. I never see. I mean, the thing is this. Everything because I don't feel safe. Yeah.
Okay.
So do you see what I mean? It's like I don't really feel like. Okay, yes, the world is celebrating my success, but again, it's like it's not really celebrating what I'm really standing for yet.
So okay. So you're hiding yourself because you don't feel safe. But what is it that what would happen? If you show yourself, what is it that you're afraid will happen?
I mean, yeah, I always been criticized for showing myself.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you feel like if you're seen, you'll be criticized.
Yeah, yeah.
Because ultimately that is what happened when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
When you showed yourself, your
Yeah,
art, you were
yeah.
criticized.
Yeah.
So you see how that trauma has been carrying on into your art.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're doing it. You don't want people to see it because you'll get criticized. But obviously, it was naturally a talent. You were naturally drawn to that anyway. So there's that little boy within yourself who had been had these dreams quashed at such a young age.
Yeah.
And it rightly so. Of course, you're gonna be left with some hurt
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna carry on into your adult life. But until you address that, you know, and address that little boy within yourself and say, hey, it's okay, and you know, I'm safe now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not that little boy anymore who's, you know, where it feels like your whole world is torn down because of my parents' views as how I should live my life, that I can now express myself, and it's okay. Some people will like it, some people won't.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, you know, will you ever feel in a place that you can then operate and be okay to show yourself and not be scared?
Not really. I mean, the thing is this, that's the reason why I always choose to be in the background, you know? And that's the reason why I always kind of like walk away from my success and make sure that I never really peak to a point where I'm too obvious or
Okay.
too seen.
So
Yeah.
so you see how that then limits you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So of course, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you were to remove that and say heal that part of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you could see that, hey, you maybe could go through the stratosphere and be known, you know, is it something that you want? I mean, do you want your work to be limited, or would you like your message, which we'll discuss in a moment, to be heard around the world?
I mean, I believe my message is going to assist the world, is assisting the world, because at the end of the day, it has assisted me and assisted everyone around me. And it just, the thing is this, I would have never maybe shared my voice with anyone, you know, unless as well, the people around me, they're like, oh my God, you know, like this has changed my life, you know, like, why are you not sharing this with the world? You know, why are you not making an album? Why are you not putting it out there? So, yeah, it's like a lot of people that know me, they're like, oh, you're sitting on a mountain of gold, but you're not, you're not realizing any of it. Yeah. So, yeah.
I've met many people who feel limited because of something back in the past that holds them back. You know, first off, well done. I mean, you're here sitting down having a chat already on a podcast. I mean, you're not hiding yourself. So you have to acknowledge and, you know, celebrate that fact. That
I told you, this is new for me.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're embracing it, which, you know, applause you mate. I mean, really awesome. Well done.
Thank you.
What was that message that you have for people? What is that message?
I mean, the message is that we're missing out on 98% of the world. That we're missing out on 99% of life.
Okay. So when you say we're missing out, how does that look? Like, why do you feel that we are missing out on 98% of life?
Because we're going atom to atom. We're headbutting against life. We're not really expanding the potential of life as we are. We're not looking at the potential of life. We're looking at how we can use life. Yeah. So we're not really looking at how we can expand the potential of the planet. You know, we're looking at how can we consume the planet. Yeah. So I feel like we're missing out on seeing life the way we're meant to see life and nurture life the way we're meant to nurture life. Yeah. So I feel like, we're missing out on 99% that is that space, space that is literally, it's occupying everything. And then basically we're not able to occupy it. Then therefore we just contract back to that 1% and we're just destroying everything to prove ourselves within this little tiny space.
Okay, so it's sort of, you know, I hear what you mean. So that, you know, we are on this planet, and I agree that, you know, what we're doing is not sustainable. You know, and how we operate is more of a consumer mindset, and that because we're not sustainable, and that we see that, you know, we are harming the planet for sure. I'm not going to talk about climate change or anything like that, but just common sense. If we look around of how these corporations have grown so drastically in the seeking profit and control and power. So 100% relate. Of course, I can't say everybody is, only using 2%. I think, there's a lot of people out there who are more aware, have woken up, maybe not from a motorcycle accident, but they've certainly had some events that have taken place that they've woken themselves up. And I feel like that's ultimately what you're projecting, because obviously you can only project what's going on from the inside to the outside. And your 2% is when you were a kid and you were suppressed, that you were only living 2%. You were only seeing 2% because you had been suppressed. And then when you had your moment of a sort of awakening, though it still took time to integrate, that's when you started to see more. You had more space. You were able to see the certain things you were able to see. You weren't suppressed anymore. And so you kind of, from your experience of waking up, you want other people to also wake up, to also see as much as what you see. Because, if you can see something, you want other people to see it so that you can connect. You don't want to be living in your own world by yourself. Seeing what it is you see. And that's why I met my wife. We both saw the new earth. The new earth is about expansion, sustainability, about connection, about love, about sharing space, about healing, helping people, connect to divinity and to know that it's all around us when we access it. And, we can all live our full potential, whatever that looks like. So I hear you, man. You say it in your very artistic, out there way. Because that's who you are, ultimately up to this point. So now that there's that message, how does it relate to this machine that you've built and created?
Yeah, so with my art, I've realized that, remember I told you that story of that girl that saw my art and she's like,
Yes.
Yeah, so... And then I started sharing my art more and more, and then realizing that people just they end up having a healing experience looking at the art, and then that kind of like confirmed further what I was experiencing with the art myself, because that's the reason why I never wanted to share my art or sell my art, because I felt like it was always like it's this great secret, this great revelations, that. Meant to be a secret or meant to be kept hidden away. Yeah, so it's kind of like a hidden knowledge. Yeah, so yeah, after having those having people affirming the fact that the art was healing them, yeah, and experiencing all these healing breakthroughs from just simply perceiving the art, looking at the art. Then I was like, okay, let me try to paint it on the actual body and see what ends up happening. Yeah. So ended up tracing it on various bodies, my friends, and having them, realizing that they're going through major breakthroughs, while we are doing it, and then afterwards, feeling like they can do anything and capable of anything at that moment. And then had people literally like chasing me to paint them, or to tattoo them, but I never wanted to do any tattooing because I'm against needles altogether. So therefore I'm not gonna pick up the needle and start tattooing when I'm not comfortable with it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so it started there, but then at the same time, when around 23, I went and did a Vipassana meditation, and then there I tapped into a whole nother realm of, this is where I kind of like went back to, let's say, being a child and being able to see everything within this golden grid, within this energy formation, see the energy of the energetical makeup of what I'm looking at, not the actual physical. I can see the physical aspect of it, but then I'm able to tune into that energetical aspect of it and see what it's made of energetically. Yeah, what it's composed of energetically. And then I realized that, okay, so a good part of it is sound and light interacting with each other to form or expand the atom or contract the atom, or yeah, so, and everything is made out of a sound frequency and a light frequency and then an atom. Yeah, so the atom literally comes last. It's kind of like the outcome of that sound frequency, and then the light, and then the atom. And then basically, around that time, I went up to Canada and I just isolated myself for 6 months. And I remember tapping into this mathematical equation, and I called it infinite math. Because the outcome was always in this infinite, it always came out to 369. Okay.
Okay.
So I was like, wow, okay, this is really interesting, So basically, and then I realized that the way I put my art together or construct it, it's always constructed in this formula of 369, 369. Everything is like 369. And I'm like, okay, really interesting. So I was like, okay, it's my secret. It's my way of doing things. And that's what always boggled the minds of the observers of my art, was like, okay, where do you come up with this from, or what's your inspiration, because it doesn't look like anything else out there. Yeah, because usually artists are inspired by what they've seen. I'm not really inspired by what I've seen in that sense. I'm more inspired by, like, yeah, I am inspired by what I've seen, but what I've seen is no one else have seen it. That's the issue.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's like I can never go and say, oh yeah, I'm inspired by.
That's probably why you kept it hidden for so long, huh?
Yeah, because it's weird. It doesn't really relate to, and I cannot explain it in a way that humans can relate to it. Yeah, they're like, okay, you're weird. It's like, how could you be the only one
If you're
that
an
sees it?
artist and you're not weird, then you're not really an artist, are you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And so I was, but at that point, we couldn't really accept weird. Couldn't, needed to be normal. Yeah. So.
Well, you were going by the your framework of your parents.
Yeah.
This has to be normal. Yet it's like it's an oxymoron. It's like
Yeah.
normal artist or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a normal artist here. That's like 99% of what's out there right now. Google artists. So
Yeah.
basically.
So you're a real creative, but you're trying to fit yourself in this sort of mold.
But I don't fit. That's
you
the
don't
issue.
fit into anything.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing fits. So I'm trying to keep trying to shove this elephant into the fridge, but it's not fitting. So then I had to give up and then go and hide somewhere else, and then I create the next thing. So basically, then it was like, talking about the 369, I came across a video about Nikola Tesla on YouTube. And in the video, he was saying, whoever knows the secret to 369 knows the fabric of the universe, knows the makeup of the universe, basically, of creation. Yeah. And I was like, I thought I was the only one that knew 369. I had no idea that anyone else tapped into 369 other than me. Yeah.
Mm.
And then I start researching further, and I start looking at all these other people out there that are saying that they cracked the code of 369. Yeah. But it's way far away from, okay, maybe they cracked it for themselves, but it's not what I'm working with. Yeah. It's definitely very different than any explanation that I've witnessed to date. So I always kind of like had this idea in the back of my head where, I mean, the thing is this, I went and studied Reiki, Shiatsu, whatever. I kind of like hung out with the Native Americans, I went around the world a few times and pretty much immersed myself in various cultures and belief systems and ways of seeing life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then throughout my journeys, I definitely kind of like realized that there is a common thread. There is the invisible thread that connects everything. Yeah. And everyone is living off of that thread, yeah, and that connects the tree to the bird to us to. So I went on, literally, kind of like studying every part that makes up, I mean, every aspect of creation, from the bird to the leaf to the tree to the ant to the, so the various kingdoms, the insect kingdom, the animal kingdom, etc. Yeah. And then I realized that there is a code within each one. Yeah. And but beyond all of that, so kind of like, I feel like I'm going now deep into my secrets, but
Please.
so yeah, maybe I need to just let it rip, reveal it. So so basically, at that point, I kept like trying to find a way to, let's say, mirror that, let's say, state of being the best runner, or that blueprint, the blueprint of being, let's say, a great singer or a great musician or a great scientist, or just by being able to analyze the blueprint that makes up that person, or that character or that way, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then find a way to mirror it back to the body, yeah. So not everyone can just look at, absorb an image and be able to take it in. You have to be highly developed or more sensitive, or more tapped into the, let's say, able to remove yourself from the mundane,
More like psychics and people who, do these type of readings, tap into energy, supposedly,
Exactly.
and translate that energy into, the information that they then give to you. So you have your certain way of hacking into it,
Yeah.
biohacking into this energy, and then you've moved it into this device. Can you describe more about the device?
Yeah, so basically, by understanding that everything is composed of sound and light,
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, cool. So maybe the way to feed it back to the body, or like mirror it back onto the, we have something called mirror neurons, yeah. That's what allows us to, let's say, get to mirror the people that we're standing with, or that we're, yeah. I mean, basically to put it in a simple way, when you're surrounded with angry people, you become angry. Yeah.
Like osmosis.
Yeah.
So you become the people, or you become the people you keep.
Yeah.
So in that environment, by osmosis, by being close to it, I think Bruce Lipton talks about it in his Biology of Belief, I think it is. So by osmosis, by being around it, you adapt.
Yeah, exactly.
The very thing. So
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds like so much easier for me to go and meditate in Thailand versus meditating, let's say, in
the middle of central London.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's other people that are meditating. So therefore, it's very easy to tap into that energy and just get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So basically, then I developed. Then finally, around COVID, yeah, I kind of like did it. I developed this device. Yeah. Where I'm able to mirror, let's say, that state of me. I had another attempt before, because basically in fashion, what I wanted to do as well, I wanted to, let's say, map out the blueprint of, let's say, the best runner, and then create a suit, that pretty much allows you to mimic, or to, that blueprint, and then basically be able to increase, your performance by mirroring the blueprint of the best runner. Yeah. But then it was, I was working on it with Puma, but then they wanted to keep my name, whatever. They didn't give me what I wanted, and then I backed away. Yeah. So then around COVID, I mean, the thing is this, I never wanted to share this, because the thing is this, because I felt like this was way too sacred, or people won't get it, or society is not ready for it. So basically, before COVID, I was working hard on this, on selling. I was about to sell 50% of my company at that time, and I was ready to live the dream that I've been wanting to do, which is go and buy an island and then start my new world on this island. Yeah. And then my dream got
Sounds beautiful.
my dream got crushed by with COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, literally lost 95%, 99% of my business within 6 to 12 months. Yeah, anyway.
No, it kind of, when you say that, it makes me think about the fact that you want, you know, you talked about 98% and 2%, or you only see 2%. And it's funny how we live a certain belief, you know, that you're driven by having people see 98%. And then at that time, you lost about 98% of your business.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like we attract what we think about, you know, what we think about comes about. So kids, be careful what you think about.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, for sure. But this is kind of like that's the reason why we are our worst enemies. Yeah. And it's very important. So the thing is, this COVID was really a very, I mean, yeah, it was a very humbling, to say the least, experience. Yeah. Because I went from, let's say, being so smart, so on top of my world, so thinking that I've got it all under control. And here I've built my fashion and art empire, and I'm about to get my cash out and go and buy my island.
Oy.
And create the perfect world on the island, you know? So, but now I'm here in the middle of the city in Dubai, bringing AOI to the matrix, to the collective, to the collective that I gave up on in a lot of ways, and I gave up on it because I never felt like they able to get it or comprehend it, and then at the end of the day I was like, they don't deserve it, you know, and it's not meant for them. It's not meant to, it's a gift. It's a gift for humanity, and it's a gift for the part of humanity that is actually willing to accept the gift, because so far it has been the greatest gift for me myself, in the sense of like, look, I'm here on this podcast, and I can say thank you, AOI, for helping me overcome my limitations, because now instead of kind of like feeling contracted onto myself, I feel like more expanded. I feel like, okay, I'm ready to share after being in the machine for 10 days, I literally was like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready to go out to the world and share with the world, and not be afraid, and not be scared, and not be so isolated and alienated by everything else that happened to me before. So, and I mean, seeing now what AOI is doing to people, Art of Implosion, is like how it's imploding the people's potential from the inside out. I mean, I have alcoholics stopping drinking. They have not been able to stop drinking for 20 years. I have, all sorts of breakthroughs. That
So you're like a walking example of it. You know, you're breaking through your limitations.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're an advocate for your own device, and of course, you know, you're seeing this. No wonder you want other people to hear about it, and you're speaking about it, because if it can help people, and I'm sure, where can people find this? You know, where can they look to find this device, and the website? Or
you can go on artofimplosion.com, and then you can find out where.
And there's testimonials on there and things like this.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we're loading up the testimonials. They're coming in every day, because every time we're like, oh, okay, it helps with back pain, it helps with joint pain, it helps with rejuvenating the cells. But every day we keep getting more testimonials of people
with different ailments, fixing different things.
Yeah, like just kind of like, breaking through all sorts of limitations, from physical to mental to emotional to spiritual, you name it.
Well, I'm looking forward to jumping on it next week.
Yeah.
And now I've said it. It means it has to happen. So then I can do a separate video about my experience of it, because I jumped into one of them before, which was your you had one version, now you've got the Rolls Royce version, so I'm willing to check that out. And look, I'm a bit of I feel like sometimes a slow learner with these things. I step in and I go, do I notice anything? Do I feel anything? Unless I'm taking some hallucinogenic medication, it's very hard for me to know. But some people, they tap in straight away. So I'm open to see what happens next week, because I've heard so many amazing things from different people. So, you know, that's why we brought you on. But then we started, you know, there was some stuff we were talking about in the New Earth Cafe. I can't remember what it was, but it was like far out there.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that'd be cool to jump on and talk about some of that as well. But I see that this is giving you a new reason for your life. It's like your purpose about, you want people to live 98% more of what they're living, to
Yeah.
feel and to live their life. That this art of implosion device is helping people to expand, and it's helping people to heal, and it's helping people to do all these things. So, that moment, that COVID, that happened to be sort of, I'm not saying it's the worst day of your life, but a lot of people have had the worst day of their life. Turns out that actually, matter of fact, it was the best day of their life. Are you feeling that at the moment, or does it need to get to a certain place, AOI, for you to feel like, you know what, now it's there?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, the thing is this. I mean, at this point, I would love for this to be experienced by humanity throughout, because I feel like we can transform our ways of being altogether. Yeah, I believe once we're able to do this ourselves, I believe that the next generation, or in this generation, what we're able to do, we will be able to take a piece of wood and implode it to a table. Yeah, instead of destroying the tree to create a table, we can just take that piece of wood that the tree already shedded itself, gave to us, and implode it to an actual table. Because that's the reason why it's like, if it works on humans, yeah, we are more complex than a piece of wood. Yeah. So the science of implosion, for me, it's like, it starts, let's say, with humans, because I was like, okay, let me do it to myself. Let me try it on myself and see what happens to me. And then I saw what happened to all my friends, and then my friends brought the rest of Ibiza, and then it was like an obligation to bring this to the world. And literally, this forced me out of my cave. This forced me out of, because I felt like 98% of what I've done so far was just me being smart. Yeah, me outsmarting everyone around me and saying like, look, I can play this game with my eyes open, with my eyes closed. Yeah, so I'm not really limited by the game to create money or to create success or to create a fortune. But it was fake. Yeah, it was not real. That's the reason why I never was able to show up.
You wanted to be authentic. So this device is ultimately helping you become more authentic?
Yeah, I mean, it helped me finally tell the truth about what I'm here for.
I just want to make sure that people don't, when they realize when you say implode, because if you're saying a piece of wood can then expand and become a table,
yeah,
then, for people who step in your machine that's like the size of a fridge,
yeah,
that has all these LED lights on, it doesn't mean that person's going to grow 10 times bigger. Yeah?
No, they're not.
Sure.
No, that's for sure. But the thing is this. It does grow muscles, yeah. It does adjust the body posture. I mean, I had many people say that they grew taller from being in there. So it's like wherever your body has been suppressed, kind of like, think of it this way, yeah. Every experience that we have in our life, yeah, we responded to it in three ways. Yeah, body language, an emotional reaction, and a mental thought. Yeah. So this trinity ends up kind of like restricting, or limiting our abilities, yeah, or expanding them, yeah, depending on how they're put together, yeah. So in this, in this process and being in the AOI experience, you're freeing up from this blockage, yeah, and by that blockage getting freed up, your body is automatically adjusting back to its natural, let's say, most...
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's going back to its original source, the original state, before the conditioning, before...
Exactly.
Again, it mirroring your, and go back to the childhood, when you were suppressed. So this machine stops the suppression and takes you back in time and heals you, so that because I guess, if I look at it, if you're suppressed as a kid, and then your body will also mirror your internal thought process. So your body will be suppressed based on your own mental conditioning. So this machine, what you're saying is it implodes. So it breaks that apart without having a bloody motorcycle accident. So it ultimately brings you back to the start where you are not suppressed, and then it reinstates the body back to its original form as it should be. Because I guess if you've grown up suppressed, your body and your physiology would probably be suppressed too. And maybe that would suppress your growth in some way. Because obviously your thoughts become reality, including, your own body. And we're mainly made up of water, and, they've done experiments around water where, you think certain thoughts and that water structure changes based on the thoughts and the energy you're giving to it. So that will then revert you back to your original state. And if you were supposed to be taller, then you could be taller, and so forth and so forth.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly. It's just like freeing up all these blockages and getting you back to your full state of being. I mean, I was telling you, I'm not like, I have many skills, but, I'm lacking skills as well. Yeah. And just, going in the machine every day for the past 2.5 years, I feel like I've developed skills that I never thought I was capable of. Yeah. I mean, and everyone else around me knew that I could never do these kind of things. But now all these limitations are dissolved, and I mean, one other thing that I shared with you is now I'm eating, let's say, 25% of what I used to eat. Yeah. But the thing is this, I have not reduced my size, or my muscles didn't shrink. I mean, my muscles got stronger and bigger, and my physical performance, I feel like I'm performing better than when I was playing soccer when I was 19, So I feel like all that has been taken away from me is given back, Like now I'm like back where, let's say, back 19 again, where I'm like, where everything is possible again. But not just 19. I'm like much better than being 19, because now I'm freed up from all the suppression and all the all the trauma that I've experienced. So therefore, I'm like, everyone should. I feel like if everyone can have this experience, then a good part of our problems will be dissolved, will be gone, and we'll be able to create this happy, peaceful society.
Where do you think you got this information from? If we're looking at things that are coming from the outside or within, because it sounds like you're not, if you're talking like this, you're not from this world.
That's another problem, because
that's another problem. Go on.
No, that is another problem, because that has been the problem where I'm like constantly just been wanting to just go back home, and I'm like, why am I in this world,
Where's home?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, where's home? That's the thing. This is a whole another world that we can tap into. Home. Yeah, home. Home is up in the stars somewhere, but that's where home is. But so I'm like, hopefully, I'll be done with my mission here on Earth soon, and I get to go back home.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes I feel that way myself. People tell me I'm a Palladian for some reason. I'm just understanding from what planet, what world. Are we carnated souls that have come from another place, and we landed here on Earth, and we have a mission, and we do what we got to do, and then we go back. It's quite a nice thought to think, wow, this is not the end.
No.
This is just another planet, another reality that we get to experience, which is cool. Go, oh, okay, well, if that's not the end, then, well, what is it to be human here on Earth? I'm not going to judge the fact I've, taken this
physical
vehicle,
form,
this physical form, and having this experience. So, okay, if it's for a limited time, what am I going to do whilst I'm here? Realizing that full potential, and maybe there is a home after this. And great if there is, then that means I really truly feel like I belong
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have all these kind of questions, but at the same time, you want to belong as much as you can whilst you're here on, you know, planet Earth.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the thing. It's like I was fortunate enough to leave this place and go home in this form, and that kind of like confirmed further. I mean, kind of like it confirmed everything that I knew since I was a child. You know, that I didn't belong here, or like. But then at the same time, you know, that knowing that we don't belong here just kind of like keeps us disconnected as well from engaging the experience all the way through, and really dedicating ourselves to bringing a change or feeling obligated to do so. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, now that's the reason why right now like I don't end up not talking so much about that, you know, the other world that we come from, you know.
You know what? I think if people are more open than you might think, and I think the more you just embrace who you truly are, and if that is the way you think, and you know, maybe many years ago people might think you're insane.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot more people who are starting to get that feeling, and I think a lot of people when they see the state of the world go, I hope there is another home that I belong to, because I am not part of this madness.
Yeah.
And you know, I think when more people speak their truth, you're starting to hear your tribe out there.
Yeah.
That you hear other people go, you know what, I can relate to that. I feel that.
Yeah.
And they may not think logically and then understand it, but they feel something, that they feel it and they can connect to that feeling.
Yeah.
But it takes someone brave enough to just start speaking their truth of what they're feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, it's all up for interpretation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who is there to judge?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, it's just at the end of the day, it's our experience and, you know, how we want to live it. But at the same time, it makes me think about people who relate to people who think that they are a cat or a dog, and, you know, they want to be treated as such. And, you know, there's a fine line balance of who you actually are, or, you know, is there a mental disorder, or is this really what is true? You know, and it's really, I mean, it's
exactly.
a fine line.
It is a fine line, yeah. But to say the least, you know, since I'm kind of like a little bit shied away right now from.
You need a few more sessions on your
maybe I need
machine.
a few more sessions of us. A few more sessions in AOI and a few more sessions with a few more podcasts, maybe, and then I'll be more free to speak.
Well, I'll leave it open to the people that if they want to hear more about it, that they can throw their comments, and, you know, if they want to wheel you back on, then we'll bring you back on and talk about it. We'll see.
Yeah.
There's no enforcing anything. You don't have to.
Exactly.
And, you know, we've had a good chat. And
no, we did. Yeah, we did. You got me to talk about a lot of things that most people don't know anything about.
So, which is great, you know. And you're here, and this is what your life experience is about. No more suppression. You are here to be an advocate for your, you know, your device that people can find out about online. Theartofimplosion.com.
Correct.
Is it AOI.com or artofimplosion.com?
Artofimplosion.com. Okay. I mean, there is a few other AOI websites, but artofimplosion.com.
So people can do their own little sort of looking around and just sort of find out about things. And I'm sure they can ask you questions on there. And if they have questions here, I'll forward them on. And, you know, hopefully we can bring you back on potentially in the next couple of months when we're back from our trip, because Dubai can get pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody sort of abandons ship and starts flying around. So is there anything else you want to share before we close this up?
No, I mean, I'm so thankful and grateful that I took your offer, and I'm here. That's the way I
can't refuse, huh?
Exactly. No, that's the way I felt about you since, from the moment that we met. I was like, you know, an old brother, you know, we know each other. So we may be from the same planet.
Maybe. Now you want to talk, huh?
So, you know, we'll reveal this in a later setting. Yeah.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, brother.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you for coming down.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thanks
for having me.
A pleasure.